Hey everybody, Mr. Chantry here, your neighborhood planetarium director, with this month's edition of Evening Sky Excursions, where I show you what you can see in the sky over our community this month and what events you can attend to get your space fix. So let's start off with some events for this month. First of all, Saturday, October 5th, there'll be a star party in Valley Forge National Park, hosted by the Delaware Valley Amateur Astronomers. That's where myself and a bunch of people from my astronomy club, we bring out our telescopes, we set them up. Let anybody that wants to come and look for them. For more details on that, go to dvaa.org to see details on that. October 18th, we'll have our public planetarium shows for this month. Both the shows, the 6:30 and the 8 o'clock shows, will be Moonwitch. This is a favorite classic that's been going on in the planetarium for decades. It's a Halloween-themed show about the phases of the moon. All of our second graders come out and see this show for a field trip in the fall. Great show for young kids to come, dress up in costume, we'll have candy. Excellent way to get started off with our holiday season. And then finally, as you can see, laser light shows are returning to the Malin Planetarium October 25th through November 2nd. So it'll be Friday and Saturday before and after Halloween. We'll also do some shows on Mischief Night. You can go to www.methacton.org/laser to see the show listing, reserve your tickets and all for there. You can see some of the shows here that we're going to have this year. Dark Side of the Moon, Laser Queen's going to be new this year. November 2nd, we'll do some laser holidays. Since Halloween's over, we can officially start the holiday season. Excellent shows. Sign up for those and come out and see them. So let's take a look at our nighttime sky this month and what we might be able to see. So I'm going to bring this down here. We're facing west. We're looking towards our sunset. It's about 5 o'clock. Now, October, we're fully into fall now. The fall equinox was at the end of September 23rd last month. So you notice that the days are a lot shorter. From the beginning of the month to the end of the month, the sun's going to rise about 30 minutes later, and it's going to set about 45 minutes earlier from the beginning of the month to the end of the month. So we're losing more than an hour of daylight, which is great. This is a perfect month to go outside, look up. It's not too cold yet. You don't have to stay up really late to see a dark sky. And the bugs have all started to die off. It's really comfortable outside. So looking west where the sun will set at 5 o'clock, we'll notice that it'll start to get dark right around 7 o'clock. And by 8 o'clock, we have fairly dark skies that we can see. Now, we're looking west here. I want to turn left 90 degrees to look to the south. This is the direction that we like to look to see lots of different objects that we can see in the sky. Just like last month, we still have Jupiter and Saturn here in the south at the beginning of the month. By the end of the month, they'll be setting pretty early. You know it's Jupiter because it's very bright. Early in the month, too, we'll see the moon encounter both Jupiter and Saturn on October 3rd. Jupiter and the moon will be right next to each other in the sky. It'll look really, really neat. You might even be able to see Jupiter earlier before the sun even sets, maybe around 6 o'clock. If you know where to look just to the bottom right of the moon. You might be able to see Jupiter during the day. You can see it during the day. It's just we're not normally able to pick it out. So test yourself, see what time on the 3rd you can go out and kind of see that. Back to 8 o'clock here. And then on October 5th, the moon will be right next to Saturn as it crosses this ecliptic path. This is the path where all of the planets, the moon, the sun, they all seem to travel the same path in the sky. And they encounter each other. The moon will encounter Jupiter again on the 31st, the end of the month at Halloween. So here we are looking up at the sky at about 8 o'clock during the month. We still have the same thing as last month. We have our summer triangle high overhead. Look straight over your head, and you'll start to make out Vega. There's one of the brightest stars in our sky, Deneb and Altair. These make up our summer triangle. Today, I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge of some other things that you can see in the sky. Other than just the triangle here, we're going to use some binoculars, and I'm going to try to help you pick something out here in the sky. So what you're going to need to do is face south and look for this summer triangle. Face south, look right overhead. You should be able to see Vega here, make out this triangle. Now, next part of this is a little bit hard. We're going to start at Deneb, one of the corners of the summer triangle. We're going to imagine a line from Deneb to Vega, and then we're going to keep that line going down here until we're in the middle of this quadrilateral here, this kind of parallelogram shape that we see right here. This is the body of Hercules, one of our constellations. So these are his legs down here, his shoulders up here. He kind of looks like a stick person. And what we're going to be looking for would be kind of like here under his, well, I imagine it as kind of his armpit. If you imagine this is like his shoulders here, these are his hips down here and his legs down here. So kind of right under his shoulder, right down here. So I drew a line from Vega to Deneb, and I went about that same distance. I kept that line going, and it got me into this parallelogram rhombus shape down here. And then I'm going to look in the upper right corner of this with a pair of binoculars. And as you start to zoom in, like we would see in our binoculars, you should start to see a little fuzzball here. It looks like a little out of focus star. Depending on how good your binoculars are, that's about what you should see. If you have a telescope and you can focus in on it even more, you might get a view like this. This is the Great Hercules Cluster, also known as M13. It's a globular cluster. What you're looking at there is actually hundreds of thousands of stars, probably about 100,000 stars in this little blob here. Globular clusters are just on the outskirts of our galaxy, and they kind of form a halo around our galaxy. So this is one of the most famous and brightest ones, M13, that you can find in the sky with a pair of binoculars. It's a little bit of a challenge, but not too bad. When you use this Deneb to Vega, keep drawing that line, you should be able to find this shape here in the sky and look up towards the longer end of this parallelogram, and right in this corner you should be able to find that cluster. Now that one's a little difficult to find. I'll show you an easier little fuzzball in the sky that you can find. Now that it's October and we're getting to this part of the year, we're going to make another 90-degree turn 90 degrees from the sunset to south. Now we're going to face due east again, and directly over due east at about 8 o'clock throughout the month of October, you're going to look for a giant square. This is the Great Square of Pegasus. Constellation Pegasus, the horse. This is the horse's body. This is the horse's neck and its nose out here, the star Enif. And we're going to use this square. It looks kind of like a diamond because it's turned on its side to find another fuzzy. This square right here, we're going to look at the bottom left corner of it, and off of it is a line of stars. This is actually the constellation Andromeda that we're going to use, and we're going to count down 1, 2 kind of bright stars from that. Next, we have to find the constellation of Cassiopeia, which is this W shape up here. Now, last month we had used Cassiopeia to find a cluster of stars down here. This time we're going to use the right-hand side of the W, kind of like an arrow that points. It's going to point in this direction right here, and we're going to use this line of stars that comes off of Pegasus, and we're going to go to the second star, and we're going to go up to where kind of these two intersect, and we're going to look right in this region of the sky with our binoculars. Without very good binoculars, you don't even need very good binoculars, you'll start to see a little fuzzy like this. Now, the other little fuzzy ball that we saw was a globular cluster. This is actually an entirely different galaxy. This is the Andromeda galaxy. This galaxy is about 2.5 million light years away, and it contains about 1 trillion stars. So in one field of view there, we're looking at 1 trillion stars that are outside of our galaxy. Now, some places where it's really dark with no light pollution, you can actually see this in the sky without any binoculars or anything. I've never been able to see that around here. You really need a pair of binoculars. You can make it out as maybe a little smudge in the sky. If you have a telescope, you might be able to get a little bit more fuzzy detail out of it. But there's 2 challenges that you can have this month of what to look for. So we started off facing west at the sunrise. We made a 90-degree turn left. We saw Jupiter and Saturn. Beginning of the month, we can watch the moon visit each one of those. We looked up overhead to find that summer triangle. Use the top end of the triangle, Deneb to Vega, to go across and find that shape in the sky where we can locate Hercules. We come across here and we find Hercules' body right here. Look for 1 fuzzball here. Then resetting south, turn east, look for that square, Look for the line of stars coming off the bottom of the square and use the W as a pointer. Zoom in right there and you should be able to find the Andromeda Galaxy. Check those two out. Come visit one of our star parties, our public shows, or our laser light shows this month, and we'll see you next month.